Arsenal were toothless. Yes, they were. I'm afraid to say it. I know there's a lot of Arsenal fans that are not going to want to hear that. But there was also a lot of Arsenal fans telling me receipts. My mate Hooks, love you Hooks, asking for receipts. I saw Egal on any channel we can get on. Receipts, apologies. And as I said to them at the time, you're going too soon. Yes, Arsenal were magnificent in two legs against Real Madrid. But as I said before, Real Madrid are not PSG. Now, people will think that's weird, me saying that, right? Because this is Real Madrid. They win the Champions League most years. But PSG are a team. PSG are a possession-based football team. But they also know how to dig in. They are superbly drilled. And they also have that threat, that frightening threat going forward. And for me, I think this is one step too far for Arsenal. Yes, one leg to go, but that 1-0 defeat yesterday for me showed the difference in class between PSG and Luis Enrique and Arsenal and Arteta. And the two managers are very important in this. So let's get back to the beginning. PSG rock up to the Emirates and come away from London with a 1-0 away win. Going back to Paris, where they are formidable, where they are a very, very good side. We saw what they did to Liverpool and how they lost that game was unbelievable. And then we saw them beat Aston Villa 3-1 as well. And this is a Paris Saint-Germain team with hard work, work ethic, guts, but technical ability, skill, that pace, that power, that position going forward. So this is a very interesting matchup. And they've taken the 1-0 win. And for me, let's look at the game. And then I'm going to look at the difference between the two managers. Listen, there was no surprises from that PSG lineup. The only possible conundrum for Luis Enrique would have been, does Barcola start or is it going to be Doué? And he went with Doué, who I thought was brilliant on the night. He was taking players on. He was driving forward. He's got tremendous pace, footwork, skill, agility. And for me, was the best winger on the pitch on the night. And if I'm going to be honest, I didn't really notice Saka. And I know that's going to upset the Arsenal fans. But another big game where I want to see something as a football fan. Forget Spurs, who I support. As a football fan, I watch Saka and I want to be more impressed than I am. He's a very good footballer. But for me, it's games like that where I'm like, where are you? Step up. For me, looked a bit powder puff. Anyway, we get to the game and PSG started brilliantly. The pace, the power, the intensity, they started brilliantly. And they looked like they were going to score at will. And they did score very early. Lewis-Skelly setting up Dembele with a really good finish into the bottom corner. And you're thinking to yourself, well, there's a long way to go. But PSG looked like they were going to score again. They opened Arsenal up. And Arsenal, for the first 25, 30 minutes, I just didn't think were involved in the game. And a lot of that for me is that midfield control, that midfield balance that PSG have got, I think is brilliant. And that is Neves, Ruiz and Vitinha, all brilliant on the ball, very comfortable in control, very comfortable being pressurized, very happy to bring the ball down in dangerous areas and play themselves out. Technically brilliant. And then I compare that to the Arsenal midfield last night, and we'll get into that in a minute. And I thought Arteta got it all sorts of wrong. I will give Arsenal credit. The last 15 minutes of that first half, they grew into the game, looked like they were going to get a goal. Donnarumma, one of the best games I've seen him play, came out with some really good saves. But Arsenal, for me, just never looked fluid. It never looked like there was that fluidity. And you know what? I watched Lee Judges talk last night. Big up to Lee, really good guy. And I watched Lee Judges talking to Don Robbie from AFTV, and I think he was spot on. He turned around and he said, Arteta got it wrong. He got the midfield wrong. because by moving Declan Rice into the deeper position that Thomas Partey normally takes, you're removing Rice from his position, which means now you've lost Partey there and Rice there. And then you had the ghost. And listen, my man Lee Gunner talks about this a lot, doesn't he? And people are catching on. And all those that call Lee Gunner negative, he's been spot on, hasn't he? Odegaard again, big game. Where was he? In these big games, this is where your captain, this is where your leaders need to turn up. Where was Odegaard? I thought he was dreadful. So that midfield three yesterday, you didn't get the best out of Rice, who I thought was superb in the 2 legs against Madrid. Obviously, you've then not got the best out of Odegaard, and you've not got the best out of Mikel Merino, who for me should have been up top, like Lee Judges said, and now you've lost what he gives you up front. So everywhere was weakened just by Thomas Partey being suspended and Arteta not getting it right. Now, how you work around that, Lee Judges was saying that Lewis-Skelly should have gone into the defensive midfield area. That would have left Rice where he is, and it would have left Mikel Merino where he is, and Tierney comes in at left back. I'll leave that to the Arsenal fans to argue amongst themselves. But I do make Lee Judges right. For me, you've got to find a workaround. I would not want to move Declan Rice, who I think, in my opinion, is Arsenal's best player. Shoot me now, that's fine. I know many of you are going to say it's Saka. For me, Declan Rice, when he's playing in that number 8, is your best player. Only my opinion. And he was sensational in the 2 legs before. And then Arteta, with all naivety, removes him from that position. And for me, you looked weaker. Now, second half, you come out. The offside goal, and it wasn't a goal, was it? I mean, I know people will have a pop. It wasn't a goal. So I don't know what's going on there. It wasn't a goal, was it? It was offside. But I thought, hang on, are Arsenal going to come out here and go at them? And it never really materialised. A lot of huff, a lot of puff, a lot of sideways passing. And I think PSG were comfortable. PSG dealt with things. Yeah, you had another chance. I think there was another good save by Donnarumma. But for me, I felt that PSG managed the game well. And it was a professional away performance, a very professional away performance in a Champions League semi-final. But Arsenal, again, the changes didn't make sense to me. Then nwaneri coming on in the 89th minute. Try something. Get nwaneri on the pitch. Get Saka into a different area. It just felt a bit naive again from Arteta. And this is why I said the levels of Enrique and Arteta really showed last night. It really did. And PSG just started to pick Arsenal off in the last 15 minutes, didn't they? Just started to pick them off. Little chances here, little chances there. They know that they didn't need to go all-out attack. They didn't need to go gung-ho. But they started to have chances, didn't they? Barcola had a chance that he should have scored. Gonzalo Ramos had a chance that he should have scored. And I just thought to myself, Arsenal are waning here a little bit. And for me, I think, again, it goes to show, one, fans need to stop getting so carried away before things are in the bag and being won. As I said, my man Egal asking for receipts and apologies is just mad when it was only the quarterfinal stage. I never understand when football fans need this. As a football fan, if my opinion is wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right. I don't need apologies from people. I don't need apologies. Oh, I was right. Where's my apology? I think it's silly. Second of all, wait until you've won it if you want to play that apology game. And these fans haven't. Now, can Arsenal go to PSG and get a result? It's going to be a really tough ask, isn't it? PSG are a top team, and I fancy that they're going to go through now. And again, nothing to do with the Spurs Arsenal thing. As I said, Arsenal were magnificent in the 2 legs against Madrid. I just don't think that PSG will sit back as much and let have Arsenal as much of the ball. I think PSG in the second leg will dominate a lot more. I think they're going to find a lot of gaps as Arsenal come forward. And I think we're going to be in for a very entertaining second leg. So I think Arsenal will get knocked out to PSG. Let me know your thoughts. Was Arteta naive? Was he naive with his team selection? Was he naive with his substitutions? Did he get it wrong on the night? And why weren't Arsenal able to perform the way they did in that first leg against Real Madrid? Why weren't they able to convert that into the first leg at home to PSG? Because winning the Champions League can't be in the quarters. You've got to do it in every single round. Let me know your thoughts. It was a good game for the neutral. As a Spurs fan, I'm watching it going, obviously I want PSG to win, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm actually disappointed in Arsenal. Like, I'm watching them thinking, don't they know this is a semi-final first leg at home? You've got to win your home games. So let me know your thoughts. I'll speak to you soon. Please like, please subscribe. And as always, please keep subscribing to FHTV Plus.